Benevolence. I am Sharon E. Jackson. On this week's episode of the program, we will be discussing about the urgent need for a new minimum wage. But first, let's take the news. We will be right back.
This one-day public hearing on the proposed minimum wage is organized by the North Central Tripartite Committee on National Minimum Wage. The hearing is aimed at giving the public the opportunity to make their own input on the national discourse that would eventually produce a new national minimum wage for Nigerian workers. The North Central Government delegation gave conditions for meeting the proposed wage.
We also urge the federal government to increase the distributable amount of the federation account to all tiers of government, especially the states and local governments. We want to reiterate that Kogi State government will always support the efforts of the federal government at alleviating and ameliorating the deplorable conditions of service of workers through enhanced salary packages. Whatever decision is taken here will be acceptable to the government of Kogi State.
The leadership of the Nigerian Labour Congress believes that the excuse given by governors that they cannot pay the proposed minimum wage due to a fall in financial resources is not tenable. They insist that with the high inflation rate and its impact on cost of goods and services, there is no way 18,000 naira minimum wage could cater for the well-being of the Nigerian workers.
18,000 as far back as 2011 was almost $140. Today, depending on what exchange rate you use, is actually either $50 or lower than $50. So in reality, there is no way we can wish away the inflation that has taken away the value of the 18,000. There is no way we can wish away the high cost of goods and services. We can also wish away the very outrageous issue of the purchasing power of ordinary Nigerians and workers that has actually been reduced to virtually nothing. These are the realities. And therefore, if there is the will, there will also be a way. And therefore, we will work together to be able to address some of those issues. But to say that no, because of ABC, the workers should continue to be impoverished is unaccepted. And any political class that try to advance that, we will also prepare for them.
Only the Kogi, Plateau, and Nasarawa state delegations were present at the hearing.
The helmsman of Atsan says workers' productivity is critical to economic growth of the country. He is optimistic that the ongoing dialogue between government and labor on minimum wage will be successful.
It's the issue of funding the agreed minimum wage. There's some light in the tunnel because you are aware that the price of crude oil has gone up about $75 per barrel today, and it's good news for us in the labor cycle. What it means is that government would have enough money to accommodate the demands of the workers with regards to the national minimum wage.
He urged the government to partner with the private sector to improve Nigeria's aviation sector.
Foreign investors are not attracted to this kind of jurisdictions where you have investments that are 100% owned by government. And that is our fear, that if Ghana has transformed into an airport company without people losing their jobs, South Africa did that as far back as 2004, 2005, AXA, airport company of South Africa. And they were able to expand even their staff trend more than 200%. Why can't we adopt the same model?
Representative of Nigeria Airways in liquidation wants government to pay the ex-workers of the airline their severance package.
We have lost 950 members out of 6,200 of our members. So this is the situation we are. and I want to use this opportunity to plead with the president. Since approval does not translate into physical cash in our pocket, and our colleagues are dying. Some are in various hospitals. Recently, the National Union, which I belong, Comrade Ahila was treated, and he could not pay. The union have to pay 120,000 in general hospital.
As the Nigerian government wishes workers happy celebration, it pledges to provide decent wages and working conditions for all workers.
Adebimpe Onolapo is a teacher at a school in Ketu, Lagos. She has been working as a teacher for more than 5 years. She tells me her salary is 18,000 naira monthly. That's about $50 US. In my desire to understand how a person survives on less than $2 per day, we set up our camera and set out with Adebimpe from her house to the bus stop where she takes a bus to Ketu, Lagos. At this point, she pleaded anonymity, and so we agreed to keep her face out of the picture as much as possible. For Adebimpe, the routine of every typical workday involves deploying a marker on a board to impact lives and earn a living for herself. After the day's job, we visited her home in Ibafu. She narrates to us how she manages 18,000 naira with 2 children who have to be fed, clothed, and attend school.
I earn close to 18,000 in a month.
Okay, and is that sufficient for you?
It's not sufficient for me. I'm just managing it.
With the high rate of inflation in the country, I asked Adebimpe how she is able to cope with house rent and electricity bills.
We use Jane, so sometimes we own Jane. We buy fuel to charge our phones, stuff like that. But the Jane we buy every day, and it's not enough. We have to manage ourselves. Just for out of that 18,000 I'm collecting. It's not easy.
Reacting to the 66,500 proposed minimum wage by the NLC, the Minister of Labour, Dr. Chris Ngige, says these indices may not determine the amount the government and employers of labour will agree to pay as the new minimum wage, which will be implemented by the end of September 2018.
The economic management team is still taking some data from Bureau of Statistics, NISA, National Productivity
So
Center.
generally, what should Nigerian workers be expecting?
No, I don't know what they will expect. It should be a consensus. If I tell you anything now, I don't know. The consensus might be, they can be talking about that they want 66,000, it can be 70,000. They might be saying they want 66,000, it can be 30,000. No, it can be 30,000. You never know. The governors have put in a proposal guided by the principle of our ability to pay, and are saying this 18,000 minimum wage, a lot of us are unable to pay.
According to the chemical workers president, he tells me how members of his union earns the minimum wage of 54,500 naira, an amount he feels is not enough.
The ratings are 18,000 naira cannot survive a Nigerian worker. That is the honest truth. So, like the government have promised by the end of September, they are going to sign a minimum wage that will be able to survive a Nigerian worker. So we pray. But in our own sector, that's the chemical union. Presently, we have 23,800 as a wage. Then on transport, we have 15,900. Then on housing, 14,800. So all amounted to about 54,500 naira.
Adebimpe Onoluwapo, who is a teacher in a private school, just like any other worker in the country, will receive a similar amount as salary, is hopeful that the government will consider an upward review of the minimum wage and make life more meaningful for the Nigerian worker. Here is a graphical representation of the expense made by Adegbimpe every day and what it comes to at the end of the month. The obvious question is, where does she get the balance? The likely answer could mean that every day for Adegbimpe yields a miracle.
To be candid, even if they are demanding for 100,000 per month, they want it. Just because it's the laborer that is even working for the government that they used to fetch income. So definitely, even if they requested for 100,000 per month, so the government should do that and pay them.
I know that the government of the day, they are not serious when it comes to the issue of labor. But this 1,000 naira is not too much. Even it's still small. If you look at the economic situation of our country, the high rate of naira against dollar is too much. Market price is very expensive, very exorbitant to cope with. So the 6,000 even is not even enough. But that is what the federal government, and if they can say agree with that 6,000 naira, it's still okay for our labor.
You know, the cost of living nowadays is not easy. Compare it, since when they have increased the salary? It's more than 10, 12 years ago now. Look at the cost of living. Look at the rate of how things are cost now. Compare it with the amount we are collecting. The salary is very, very poor. The cost of living is high now. We have been expecting it. We have money in Nigeria. See the way they are lavishing our money. Eh? Look at the amount the House of Assembly are collecting. Look at the House of Representatives. Look at the amount they are collecting monthly. They are cheating the poor people. The salary earners, they are cheating there.
To my mind, the whole minimum wage thing is overly stated. Looking at the present economic situation, I think we can get it in theory, but in practical, I don't think we can afford it. 50-something thousand naira. I don't know where the government is going to get that money from. Or else, we still want to rely on borrowing and borrowing and borrowing just to pay salaries. So I think the focus now should not actually be on increasing minimum wage. It should be about increasing the economic performance, basically, and that would do it. So if we generate the fund, we'll be able to pay. If not, we are just dismissing ourselves, we'll get to another debt.